Bonjour mon petit chifle, Amber here, and happy September. As I'm filming this, it is September 1st, which means my birthday is in 4 days. And being that my birthday is in 4 days, that means I will hopefully be getting a bunch of books for my birthday. Speaking of books, I am here for August books of the month. I read 2 books this month, still working my way out of this slump, and I started a 3rd. But so, let's just jump right in there. The first book I read was Jacobi by William Ritter. This book is about a girl named Abigail who moves to New England from London, from England, in the 1800s, 1892. And she finds work with Jacobi, who is a paranormal supernatural detective. Immediately they start a case involving basically like a paranormal serial killer, and it's basically all I'm going to tell you without giving too much away. The book is described as, on the book flap, as Doctor Who meets Sherlock. And I've never really watched either show. Obviously I know about Sherlock Holmes because of the books and whatnot. So from what I gathered about Doctor Who and the show itself, Sherlock, I could definitely say that that is the vibe this book is giving me. It also has a very the Spiderwick Chronicles, is that what it's called, feel to it. The movie, I never read the books, but I love the movie, so it has like a very Spiderwick type feel with the different creatures like trolls and goblins and banshees. Also kind of reminds me of Teen Wolf in that aspect. Anyway, let's read the notes as always. On page 79 it says, rows of books reached to the ceiling and lined the walls of a beautiful library. Central bookshelves had been arranged to allow light to pour down the aisles from alcove window seats, and the space felt warm and comfortable. I could have spent hours curled up on a soft chair in that room. Blah 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 blah. Goals. Honestly, goals. That's what I want in my house. I want Beauty and the Beast style library in my house. On page 104, Jacobi says, the battles are usually in her head the battles that are usually in her head does not lessen the bravery of it. The hardest battles always are. Honestly, that is a quality quote. Anywho, let's just get into my thoughts of the book. I personally really liked this book. I thought it was quick. I thought it was fun. I really liked Abigail. I love that she's sort of unconventional and she doesn't really strive to be the type of girl that she's supposed to be, especially for that time. The corset, prim and proper, and swooning. Ooh, let me not knock out my hat. Lady of that time. I especially like the fact that the author of this book is male, and that a male could convincingly write a female character that doesn't fall into like sort of the female stereotypes, if that makes sense. So good on you, William Ritter. To go with that point, on page 188 she says, I shouldn't have thought a young lady would fit the role of a murder suspect for a man like Marlowe. It's almost refreshing to be mistreated equally. I think the characters of this book are very well written. They're very believable. This book, like I said, was a very fun read. It wasn't really, there's not a whole lot of like, you know, a lot of times people are looking for like grit in books, but it was just fun. I was instantly drawn into the story. Why am I still holding the book? Instantly drawn into the story. I love Jacobi. He's such a fun little quirk bubble. Oh, I also really like the lack of the romantic storyline. Don't get me wrong, I love a good romance. I love a good love triangle, but sometimes it takes away from the story, and sometimes you just want a mystery. You just want paranormal detectives doing paranormal detective things. I think in this story the romance thing, that a heavy romance, sort of felt a little forced, and there's no place for it, and there wasn't enough time in the timeline because the story takes place over a matter of days. I'm sure that Abigail's little crush on on Charlie will be explored and expanded in the follow-up book. But for an introduction to the characters in this series, I thought it was awesome. But yeah, I like Jacobi. I can't wait to get the next 2 books to finish the series. I'm really curious as to where it goes. Hopefully it keeps up the fun, upbeat, quirky vibe that I got from it, and I'll keep you updated on my thoughts in the series. So after that, I read a book that I first read years ago, The Hollow by Jessica Verde. Like I just said, first read this book years ago. It probably was around the time it first came out, which was like 2009. I checked it out from the library. This is the second one, and I loved it. So when I saw it on Book Outlet, obviously I had to order it. And this book, it's about Abby. That's funny. The last book, the main character is Abigail. Abby, her best friend Kristen just died, and she's sort of dealing with that, coping with the loss, and at the same time trying to figure out how she died and what happened. She finds out that Kristen's been keeping a whole chunk of her life from her, and during this time she also meets Caspian, who she's immediately drawn to, and it's their relationship in the midst of Abby dealing with her grief and loss. And this all takes place in Sleepy Hollow, New York. So I always thought that was really cool that was tied into the story. Oh, there's also a really big plot twist at the end, but I won't talk about that right now. Now, when I first read this book, I absolutely loved it. I thought the story was amazing. I thought it was so original. I thought the supernatural element was really cool. And for the most part, I really do still love the story. I was a little disappointed that I didn't love it as much as I did the first time I read it. Like I said, I still think that the supernatural element, I think it's a very original. At least I haven't read a lot of stories like this. I think it's super cool that the Legend of Sleepy Hollow is incorporated into this book. It's not a retelling, but it is incorporated. It's a big part of this book. It's almost like its own character in the book. I love Abby's passion for making perfumes, and this book is actually what inspired my interest in essential oils and making my own perfume. In fact, when I first read this book, I emailed Jessica and I talked to her a little bit about, she gave me a lot of tips on making my own perfumes. I've actually never talked about this on this channel. Maybe I'll get into it in a video. If you'd like to see me do a video about perfume making, give this a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments. But I think reading it the second time that, I don't know, I wish that more of the story had been about Abby figuring out what happened to Kristen, because for a lot of the book you thought that's where this book was going, but it never actually really went there. I don't remember what happens in the sequel, which means I'm gonna have to order it, as well as the third one, which I never read. I am curious to see how this series finishes. I think that the way Abby and Caspian's relationship happened was very unrealistic. I think because like she's met this guy twice, has hung out with him maybe once, and she's all of a sudden in love with him, doesn't know a thing about him, has barely, like I said, talked to him or spent time with him. I'm just like, find a chill somewhere, Abby. So like those aspects were a little, I guess, a little off-putting. And I've read a lot of comments like on Goodreads and stuff, and I totally agree with that. When I first read this book, I was still in my Twilight phase, and this has a Twilight-esque vibe to it, so I feel like that's maybe why I loved it so much when I first read it. But now, as I'm a little older, I'm just like, It's not so much Caspian, it's very much Abby. And I don't know, maybe part of that's her grief. Maybe I'm reading too into the thought process of a fictional character, but I tend to do that a lot. It just felt inauthentic and rushed, and not necessarily rushed like pacing in the story, just like their relationship, like the way she fell for him basically. Was just like, whoa, 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 what do you, girl, you don't know this person. And in the end, like, I'm like, I told you, I warned you, but no one ever listens to me. I don't know if any of that made sense. Nothing usually does when I do book reviews. But that was The Hollow. Like I said, I'm definitely going to read, I think, what's the next one? The Haunted. Reread it, brush up, see where it goes, because I really don't remember where it goes after this. And then I'm going to have to order The Hidden just to see how it ends. So then I started reading and had hopes of finishing for the month, but I didn't. I haven't gotten that far in it. Black Dove, White Raven by Elizabeth Wein. I'm not that far into it, but it is a historical fiction novel. It takes place during World War II. From what I gather, it revolves around Teo and Amelia, who are their kids, and where I'm at, they're kids, and their mothers were best friends. Teo's mom dies in a bird strike. They're stunt pilots, I think. And Amelia's mom adopts him and moves them to Ethiopia to raise them in a place where Teo won't have to deal with racial tension. He's black and they're white, so to raise them just normally and easily. That's all I know so far about this book, so I will be talking about this next month. But I did want to mention it as like a book of the month, since I did start it about a week ago while August was still a thing. So on to my TBR for September. Now, I'm sure there will be books added to this because, like I said, my birthday is Monday. So first of all, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but to complete this book box that I've been going through from Book Outlet is The Eye of Mines by James Dashner. I don't know how emotionally prepared I am to start another Dashner series. Hopefully he won't rip my heart out again. I have no idea what this book's about. I don't even think I read the flap. I just ordered it because it's James Dashner and I love the Maze Runner books so much. I guess I feel like it's like a dystopian science fiction type deal. I'll let you know. And then also another book by another author that I love so much is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. If you don't know, I love Jandy's The Sky is Everywhere so much. It has made its way onto my favorite books of all time, so I'm really stoked to read this book. This book is about Jude and Noah. They're twins. I think the first half is told through one twin story, and the second half is another twin story. I know a lot of it has to deal with Noah coming out and I guess them dealing with that, so it's really interesting to read an LGBT centered book, so that should be really interesting. I'm really excited to read this. I love Jandy's writing. And then obviously what I've been working towards for ages, I am hopefully going to finally get around to rereading The Wrath in the Dawn so that I can finally get back to my fictional boyfriend and read The Rose and the Dagger. I loved I'll give you The Sky is Everywhere. The Wrath in the Dawn was like my favorite book of, when did I read it? It's one of my favorite books of 2015 or whenever I read it. So incredible. So I'm looking forward to, I have so many questions from the last book, so hopefully they'll all be answered in this one. I'm looking forward to the story continuing. I went on Amazon yesterday getting my wish list together book-wise, and it was recommended to pre-order Renee's new book, and I'm like, heck yeah, because I loved these books, so I am sure that I'm going to love anything else she puts out. So those are my books of the month. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope you followed some of that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. Let me know down there any books you think I would like to read, or any books you'd like to see me review. And I'll see you all my places are down there so we can be buds, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.